This week for Savour Stories, I'm here in Callan. I'm talking to grower Vinnie Grace. Now, Vinnie Grace is the owner of Riversfield Farm. It's an organic, certified organic salad and vegetable farm. Vinnie, tell us about the business.
Okay, so we've been here since 2013, and we grow a wide range of organic vegetables. So we are, most of the vegetables are sold towards restaurants and catering, and we do a veg box scheme. So this year, I suppose, has changed everything. Whereas the vast majority of things were going to the restaurants, they shut down. So around March time, we were planning what seeds were going to go into the trays and what plants were going to go out into the fields. We decided that we'd give the veg box, which we had kind of moved away from before, another chance. So what we have basically is a set veg box. We do. It's up on a website, a website we had created after COVID started. So it was quite rushed and all that, as everybody was in the same boat. So you can see what the contents are, but it's a set box.
Okay, so lovely carrots. What do you call this guy?
This is a Romanesco.
Yeah.
Red cabbage, kale, winter squash, potatoes, onions. So we try and have the kind of staples every week, like your carrots, your onions, your potatoes, and your salad, and then we try and change it around and go with the season, so people get a taste of the season. So more like Savoy cabbage during the winter, red cabbage, our own carrots, and then during the summer it's more aubergines, tomatoes, French beans, all the really Mediterranean type sun-loving veg, like, you know.
So this box is delivered to your door every week?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Or people take it as and when, so they can go on and they can take it once a week, or they can have a subscription and they can take it every week, or they can dip in and out. If the veg box contents they don't like the look of it, they can go, I get it next week. So that's.
Well, you're here 7 years.
Yes.
Where did you come up with the idea? Were you always a farmer?
No, but I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
But not a vegetable farm, and then I suppose I'd moved away and I'd done different things, like I'd worked in social care, rehab type things, and it was always in my head to come back and do something, and the vegetable thing was there, and I had a huge interest in that, and I suppose I had a huge interest in organic, the idea of organic growing as well, but to be honest, it took on a complete life of its own, and I never really envisaged that it would be this from where we started. Like, we just started with a small plot out in the field, head down, and then the business side of things took over.
We all know organic is good, but why organic? Like, you would have grown up in a dairy farm now, it would be
beef,
too much.
yeah,
Beef,
it was beef, yeah. But I suppose, it was very low input farm, I suppose, so that was always there in the background. It wasn't a high intensity farm, like, and I suppose even as a child when I was growing up, all farms were more like that. Like, they were more closely allied to organics than, you know, really intensive American farms or anything like that. And when we wanted to grow veg, it didn't make sense that you would put chemicals on something that you were going to eat. Like, so that was the first kind of attractant. And then I suppose the whole idea of trying to have a system that works in tandem with nature, as opposed to kind of, you know, trying to fight insects or trying to fight pests or trying to fight disease with chemicals. It just made sense. Like, and things get stronger and things become more resilient as you get a bit more knowledge, and things are there a bit longer. So it makes even more sense now than just the notions that I had then, and that's all it was notions, like, you know. So, but to put it into practice, it has.
So from when you started 7 years ago, the soil in that field outside there, is that better now?
I would say so, for sure, yes. Yeah, I would say, yeah, it is for sure.
A lot of tender love and care, and the crops are better as well.
Yeah, and we rest ground as well.
Okay.
You know, everything's not.
That's very important, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
to let it go back, and to let the worms go back, and to let roots come down and pull up nutrients that have been lost. Yeah, so it is like, yeah, it's a huge part.
What's been the biggest hurdle of business, besides the obvious COVID, not supplying to restaurants, but throughout the years?
Through, I suppose, my lack of business knowledge. I came from, I suppose, as I say, I worked in kind of social care. I was working with the health board. I worked in probation for a while and stuff. So I was paid a wage every week, and I never had to think about one iota of business. So, and when this came, it was that idea, like, you know, you throw yourself into it. But I realised I'm probably a bit slow learner in that, you know, you can't just have your head stuck in the soil, like, and just because you work a long day doesn't mean that it will be successful. Like, so I think, yeah, to try and get a bit more savvy in business, that was my biggest, and still is, I suppose. But you know,
you're always learning.
Yes, and maybe slowly, but that is the biggest, most.
And will Brexit now affect you?
I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Like, do you know what I mean? It'll affect us. Say, a lot of our seeds are coming in from England, and they've told people to land seeds before Christmas. Like, but I don't know how. It won't have a direct effect other than that. It won't have a direct effect on our business, unless yes, like there's a certain amount of vegetables that are coming in from England, say, that are displaced, and they look for more Irish vegetables. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but in the short term, it doesn't. Like, apart from kind of some logistical things, that, I think.
Okay, touch wood.
Yeah.
Vinny, tell me, is it just you here? Who's the team on the team, or
There's three of us. There's myself, and then there's Liz and Eric, and then we would have other people during the summer. Often we would have a student, say, like from France, but obviously that didn't happen this year. There was someone lined up to come, but with the COVID it didn't happen. So we would have, because it's a lot more busy during the summer.
So who's been your biggest support?
Well, I suppose this year it's been very evident. Local restaurants, chefs, owners, they've been extremely supportive. And even when everything shut for so long, obviously, and we would have phone calls from a number of chefs when they were about to reopen, telling us that they were going to open, and they wanted to see what we had at the time, and they've been ultra supportive since then. Obviously they're most of them have shut again because there's no option, but in those couple of months, hugely supportive.
So it's coming full circle. You're supporting them, they're supporting you guys.
Yeah.
And hopefully the locals are buying local as well.
And I do. I mean, ever since we supply Silver Springs, the little greengrocer in town, and there's definitely been an upsurge in people buying vegetables from their local shop and a move away from big supermarkets. So a lot more. When one door closed with the restaurants in March, with Silver Springs and the little greengrocer, other doors opened. And definitely the community was looking for local veg, local produce, local things, and an awareness that people were in difficulty, they needed to be supported, and anything they could do, they would help. You definitely got that sense.
And we're cooking more from home. We're seeing more. We're putting into our pots and pans. Vinny, any plans for the future?
Oh, it's so unpredictable, isn't it? It's very unpredictable. Like we had started to try and kind of cut back on the varieties, so that we at the start we'll grow everything, but then we realised that you can't put your full attention into everything, so we were trying to knock back a few things and then specialise. But now that's kind of in turmoil again. So who knows? It'll be a sit down over Christmas. We'll see what happens. Yeah. We'll see what next year looks like. So I don't know.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Any advice for young people thinking about going into this industry?
Yes, be very business minded and put nearly as much effort into that as into the growing. I think would be my advice, because you can waste an awful lot of time and energy and get nothing back from it. So you need to know that. So if I was back again, I'd made an awful lot of mistakes, but that would be one of them that I would fix.
Vinny, thanks for talking to us. If people want to buy your product, where can they find you again?
www.Riversfield Organic Farm, and then we have some produce in some shops as well. So some just individual items. That they don't want to buy a full box.
Great. Vinny, thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you. Thanks very much.